For example, Mahatma Gandhi, a very limited man, he could not make a living. When he went out to fight his first case in the court in India, and of course he lost the case. Does that sound like Mahatma Gandhi? Ticket collector said, "Get out." Mahatma Gandhi said, "I have a first-class ticket." And he became a colossus. Just broke that little identification and moved into a much larger identity. For example, Mahatma Gandhi, a very limited man, he could not make a living. He got qualified as a lawyer. I remember what he wrote when he when he went out to fight his first case in the court in India. He says, "I stood up to argue my case and my heart sank into my boots." This was his expression. And of course he lost the case. Then he decided this law is not for him. He must seek some other profession because he doesn't have the courage to stand up and speak in a courtroom. Does that sound like Mahatma Gandhi? The man just moved millions of people, just one incident. Suddenly his old identities broke. He went to South Africa to make a living, and he was doing okay as a lawyer. And one day he bought a first-class ticket in a train and got in. And he traveled some distance. In the next station somewhere, a white South African got in, and he didn't like a brown-skinned man sitting in a first class, so he called the ticket collector. Ticket collector said, "Get out." Mahatma Gandhi said, "I have a first-class ticket." He said, "It doesn't matter, just get out." He said, "No, I have a first-class ticket, why should I get out?" So they threw him out of the train. His luggage and everything, they just threw him out. And he fell on the platform and he just sat there for hours. Why did this happen to me? I bought a first-class ticket, why am I thrown out of a train? Suddenly he identified himself with a larger predicament of the people. Till then, his survival, his law, his making money was all important. Suddenly he identified with a much larger problem that existed, and he became a colossus. Just broke that little identification and moved into a much larger identity. Probably there has never been another man on this planet who moved as many people as Mahatma Gandhi moved with such simple ways. I don't call him a spiritual person, but socially, politically, absolutely relevant for that day. Never before another conquering force on the planet has been made to vacate the land where they had taken roots without firing bullets at them or killing them or anything like this. Never before such a thing has happened. People who have conquered the land have conquered at a certain price. They won't go easy. They won't go easy. What does not happen is what you could not do, isn't it?
Yes. 1947, the year that birthed two nations but tore apart a whole civilization. Millions lost their homes, their families, their very identities. A tragic chapter in history that many prefer to gloss over, but one that continues to echo in the lives of people on both sides of the border. But what if I told you that the story of partition, the real story, has never been told? Today, we are going to unearth the truth of what happened and what still happens. How did we get here? And why do the ghosts of 1947 still haunt us? Mahatma Gandhi, the father of India's independence movement, stood for one simple yet profound principle: non-violence, unity. He fought not only for freedom but for a united India, where every man, woman, and child could coexist, no matter their religion or caste. But when the clock struck midnight on August 15, 1947, the birth of two nations tore that vision apart. His mission was a peaceful one, but even he knew that some battles could not be won with words alone. And just a year later, he was assassinated by Nathuram Godse, an act that confirmed the fracture of nation. Let's talk about the human cost of partition. The boundaries were drawn on maps were not just lines, they were tears. Families were divided, communities ripped apart, entire villages left in ruins as millions fled, not knowing where they would find safety. Have you ever stopped to think about what it must have felt like to be uprooted from everything you knew in a matter of days? What did it mean for a child born in one land to suddenly be told they belong to another? Fast forward to the present. India and Pakistan, two countries born from the same motherland, share not only history but a deep-rooted rivalry that shapes their politics, their identity, and even their worldview. From nuclear tests in 1998 to the ongoing conflict over Kashmir, the wounds of partition still bleed in the present day. But there is the question, is this rivalry inevitable and we condemn to a never-ending cycle of blame, anger, and a war because of a line drawn 75 years ago? Or is there a way out? A way to break free from the past? Let's go deeper. The Radcliffe Line, the border drawn between India and Pakistan, was done in haste, with little to no regard for the lives it would impact. It was crafted by a British lawyer who had no prior knowledge of the region's culture, language, or geography. Families found themselves suddenly on the wrong side of the line they never asked for. And it did not just separate the land, it divided the very soul of the subcontinent. Now let's zoom in on Kashmir, a region caught between two countries, both claiming it as their own. Kashmir was not just a geopolitical issue. It became a symbol of a trauma of partition, a battleground for the bitterness that was seeded decades earlier. Why does Kashmir remain unsolved? Why does it seem like every attempt to bring peace to the region is met with more violence and division? The answer lies on the unsolved issues of partition and in the political games played on the both sides of the border. Sadhguru, a modern-day spiritual figure, urges us to rise above our national and religious identities and unite as a one human family. He speaks of transcending boundaries, about seeing ourselves as a part of a larger human story, not limited by our borders.
What you unfortunately know as religion in the world today is just somebody's belief systems. Somebody believes God is round, somebody believes God is square, somebody else believes he's a triangle. That's the situation, isn't it? And you must understand this, once you start believing in something which is not yet a reality for you, you are bound to be in conflict with somebody else because somebody else is bound to believe something else.
But can this message of unity penetrate a society so deeply entrenched in its division? Can it heal the wound that have been festering for generations? Or does it simply get lost in the noise of a nationalist forever and political agendas? Narendra Modi's India is a country on the rise, a nation determined to reclaim its place on the world stage. But under Modi's leadership, India's national identity has become increasingly defined by Hindu nationalism. His vision is clear, a strong, unified India. But can a nation defined by its religious majority truly be inclusive, or does it leave millions behind? And then, across the borders, Pakistan's own struggle continues. Enter Shehbaz Sharif, Pakistan's current Prime Minister, struggling to navigate a country caught between the desire for stability and a weight of its own political factions. Sharif's Pakistan is one caught in a delicate balance, seeking peace on the one hand, yet struggling with the pressure of internal instability and the history of conflict with India. In April 2025, the Pahalgam terror attack shocked the nation. 26 innocent lives were lost, and once again India blamed Pakistan, and Pakistan denied involvement. This is the tragedy of the present day. Violence is used as a tool of a political leverage, while the common people bear the cost. How much longer can this cycle continue? How many more lives will be lost before we break free from the past?
नहीं आप टेंशन मत लो। अब बेटा आप यहाँ पे रहो, हम साथ में। मैडम ये जो वहीद साहब है प्रेशर, आप टेंशन मत लो। मेरे बेटे का बच्चा लो। हम बचा देगा, कोई बात नहीं। बेहतर
Let's take a step back and remember, the real cost of this conflict is not measured in military terms. It is measured in the lives of ordinary people, survivors of partition, families torn apart, and communities displaced. The stories as a part of our shared history, and we cannot forget them. Perhaps it's time we stopped seeing India and Pakistan as enemies. Perhaps we would start seeing them as two nations, broken but capable of healing, with people who deserve peace more than anyone else. Across the borders, there are efforts to build bridges, from interfaith dialogues in Kashmir to joint sports events in Lahore. People are coming together, not as politicians or soldiers, but as humans desiring something more than what history has given them. India and Pakistan, they are not just two countries, but one that can still be mended if we dare to dream beyond us. I leave you with this thought: can we truly escape the shadow of the past, or are we forever bound to it? The choice lies in our hands and in the hearts of those willing to break the cycle of division. History is not over. Truth still calls. Subscribe and stand on the right side of the story.